Well, good afternoon. It's Tuesday the 28th of November. It's about 12:30. I've come to the middle reaches of the River Leam, or Leam, however you want to pronounce it, near Leamington today, to have a fish for some roach and some chub. But arriving here, I've found the river to be so slow moving, it's unbelievable. There's no flow on it whatsoever. I've plumbed the depth. I've decided it's got to be a waggler job. It's a waste of time trying to put a chubber or a stick float down here. I might have to quiver tip a little bit later on if I don't get any joy like this. I'm approaching it quite fine today. I've just put a 2-pound bottom on. And I'm going to fish for some of the, or try and get some of the smaller fish interested in first, and then obviously see if I can get a few of the bigger ones going. But it'll be a real slow trot down today, I can tell you, because I've already had as I said, I've plumbed the depth, I've had a few practice casts. I'm only on a 2-pound bottom at the moment, size 18 hook, which is the finest I've fished for a little while. So we'll give it a go and see if I can get a few fish. No, my float's not even travelling down river. There's a bit of an upstream wind here, and for those of you that don't know anything about waggler fishing, when the water's slow moving and you've got a downstream wind, you normally tend to sink the line when you're waggler fishing, so that the wind doesn't bow the line and take the float through the swim too fast. When you've got an upstream wind, you normally tend to fish with a floating line, and you leave your line on the surface of the water, because it causes that nice bow behind the float, and it has the opposite effect, and it slows the float down through the swim. Well, at the moment the flow is that slow on here, I'm actually having to sink the line, because the little bit of breeze that's actually coming up the river is just holding the float back. It's actually dragging the float in the opposite direction to the flow. So the rivers do desperately need a bit of rain. Wants to be steady though, over just steady rain over a reasonable period, not the flash floods that we always seem to get just of recently. Be interesting to see how this stretch fishes out, to be honest, down each swim, because I took you to the tiny upper reaches the other week, and you saw me catch quite a few small chub and roach and the odd dace from there. So you would expect there to actually be more in here, but it's not always the way. I'm going to feed, cast and feed again for a little while. There we go. I think that was a little touch. Feed, cast, feed for a little while, just to build it up a little bit. And then I'll move over to just feeding and casting. Need to try and attract a few fish in. I've got the shot pattern so that I've got the bulk of the shot around the waggler itself, and there's a reasonably slow fall, so that I'm searching from the top more or less to the bottom. And then obviously what I do in any swim or on any day is I'd adjust things after. If I find I'm getting most of my fish you know, further up in the water, I'd probably shallow up or move the shot up. If I find that I'm getting most of the fish further down, I'll obviously move the bulk of the shot further down so it gets down to the bottom a bit quicker. Should have brought my 13-foot match rod really, and my closed face probably would have been better for this. But I shall come back here and have another go, and if it's as slow as this still, I think I'll probably quiver tip next time. Oh, that is just so slow down there, it's ridiculous. No, nothing. Right, let's move down a bit. Well, I'm really surprised I haven't had a nibble yet. That's better. Don't go flattening too much of the undergrowth, it'll ruin it. No, not even a touch, it's time to move. Well, I've come back to the upper reaches of the Leam now. I felt I was wasting my time on the other stretches, not particularly with the methods I was using, but just a complete lack of flow. The water was so deep though compared to here, it's unbelievable. I've got a couple of foot here and had 6 foot there, but not so much as a nibble while I was there, which isn't a particularly good sign in my eyes. So I've come back here and there is a little bit of flow on down here. Water's not as coloured as I would have liked, so I'm going to change over and I'm just going to trundle a waggler down here. Still going to fish the size 18 for a little while. And I'll move these split shot. And I'm going to fish maggots. I've got some bread in the car, and I might just a little bit later have a change, pop back, get some bread, and perhaps trundle a big piece of flake down here. A lot of the leaves have gone from here now. I tried to come and fish this last week, but when we'd had a bit of rain, but unfortunately there was that many leaves coming down here. It was just an impossibility to fish, to be honest. So I'm on a small 3BB waggler anyway, just a very short one because the water's not very deep, and I've got 2BB bulked around the float, and then I've got 2 number 4s about halfway between the float and the hook, and I'll start with that and see what happens. As you know, when I've fished here in the past, there's been quite a bit of small stuff. I did lose one decent fish from here, and I'm pretty sure there must be some more, but I'll start with, I'll just feed half a dozen maggots, and I'll start with a single maggot first of all. Yep, that's going down there okay. Right. That's got a little bit more depth on it. I can't see the bottom, which I could before, so over here. But yep, straight away into a small fish, which has happened to get off. Let's change that up bait a minute. Mind you, I guess that was going to happen coming back here, but as I said, there should be some larger fish in here as well. It's just a matter of getting past the small ones. As I said, it may well be a case of going back to the car, getting some bread and trying some bread on a really large hook. Really raw today, certainly up that other stretch when I was there. Bitterly cold it was. I'll try the waggler first, and if I can't get the waggler to, I thought it would have actually been better than trying a chub or a stick float in these conditions, but if I can't get the waggler to do what I want, then I will change over. Same principles though, get that mending every now and again so that the line is behind the float all the time. Yep, here we are. Small chub by the looks of it. I think we'll stick to one maggot. I think we're just masking the point of the hook here a little bit. Just 3 or 4 every trot down, no more than that. It's more than enough. Yes, there's plenty of small stuff. Just had another touch then. Yep. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but I love this. I could spend a lot longer than I actually do. Yeah, small chub again. Get that mending, get the I got one then as soon as it hit the water. On the drop, as they say. It's just trundling down the other side of treat now. just off the, yeah, just off the flow of the fast water into the slightly slacker water. I know there's some much better chub in here because I've seen them over there when I've had a walk round, and obviously I've caught them in the past here, but you can't rest on what you've caught on the past. You people want to see something caught in the present. Here we are. Aha. Small dace. Straight away. Always just out of the main current on the side. There was more flow on here, obviously a light stick float, a bit more flow and a bit more depth. A light stick float, probably a couple of number 4 number 4 I should think, be about right down here. But wants a little more flow. But for waggler fishing, it wants close face reel really. Oh, there's another one. Oh, never get tired of seeing that float go under. But where's your big brother? Oh, well, getting bigger. Little roach. They're immaculate in here. I said no more than 3 or 4. Don't to overfeed it. And they're not going to disappear because you haven't fed enough. Straight away. As I said before, you know, when you get a little bit of flow on here, it's incredible the volume of fish that are here. You could amass yourself 6 pound of these bits in a day quite easily. I know I have done before. The days when I used to bring the keep net. And we're in again. Yeah, where's your granddad? Nice little chub. But where's those bigger ones I've seen swimming around? It's funny what you the different species that you tend to catch in the different parts of the water. As I said, you know, where the chub tend to lurk, and then the roach that I've caught have tended to be more over this side, in the quieter water on this side, which is often the case. The roach don't like the flow too much at all. And as I said, you tend to get the chub just hanging outside of that main flow. There we are. The fish are very high up in the water. I expected them to be a lot lower down with it having been so cold. I mean, it's about something like dropped down to nearly 1 degree today or something. I was hoping for a trip back down the canal, but we're trying to fit a trip back down in the down the canal, but it's just been frosty and cold, not particularly good conditions. But on my way home today, I'm going to call in there and I'm going to feed up a swim, and I'm probably going to have a night down on the canal, see if I can catch a carp before things get too bad. Yeah. Keep looking down swim, just having a check, see if I could see anything bigger moving down there or up this direction. Sometimes you can, you know, where they've been feeding, the chub will actually jump out a bit further down. Never ceases to amaze me what the small stream holds though. A few more in. Oops, that went a bit off course. But the waggler's absolutely perfect down here today. It's one of the things I suppose people don't, most people come into fishing now via carp fishing. Oh, there's a load of big cluster of bubbles just come up in the swim then. Oh, I wonder what that is. Yeah. I've caught pike from here before, as well as I've stated before. It's amazing what you get in here, pike wise. Nice little roach. Certainly a good bit of fun for a couple of hours. Ooh, come on, bigger fish. But they really are high up. I mean, this is most of these bites are just instantly on the drop here. Just bend that line. Float's not going very far at all before that cluster of bubbles is just moved now over to the other side, so God knows what that is. Just try them in the faster flow. Oh, one straight away. Yep, here we are. There's those bubbles again, they've just come up over the other side. I've seen pike do that before on waters. I'm wondering perhaps whether there's a pike over there. If it's a 10-pound carp, I'll be in a bit of trouble. I'm only on a 2-pound bottom. But whatever it is, it's certainly moved over about a yard from where it originally was to the into more of a flow. And it's definitely coming upstream as well. Polaroids aren't helping at all. I don't really want to go creeping down and trying to lean over that tree because I'll spook whatever it is. Here we are. So many small fish, so many small fishes. And as I said, I went to the middle reaches, as you saw earlier, and tried at least 3 or 4 swims and couldn't get so much as a nibble. Unbelievable, isn't it? And then you come here, 2 foot deep. Wouldn't expect anything to be able to live in here, and it's bite after bite. And as I said, one day I hope to show you something a little bit larger from here. That patch of bubbles has moved further up here now, but I still can't see anything. It's just the water's just too dark to be able to see anything, even with Polaroids on. Down in there. Here's one. Straight away. It's just approaching 3 o'clock. I've just shot back over to the car because I needed to replace the camera batteries, and I've dropped off the maggots, picked up a bucket of bread mash and a couple of slices of bread. And what I'm going to do now for this last hour or so into darkness, when I would really expect to get a decent sized chub, is I'm going to feed bread mash for a little while, and then I'm going to have a trot down and see if I can pick off a big one. Who knows, but we'll give it a go. That's the main thing. I've changed the tackle, and basically what I've done here, I've still got the same waggler on, a 3BB waggler, but I've gone straight through on 4-pound line and a big size 8 hook to take a really good sized piece of flake. And that's what I'm going to trundle down and see if we can get one in a little while. Just get a little handful of this bread mash. Don't want too much, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just keep putting a bit in at the head of the swim, and that will just sink down there and break up as it's going down, an absolute treat. And hopefully any bigger fish further down, that will bring them upstream. And I'm going to do that for the best part of about 15-20 minutes. Not fish, just keep putting a little bit of bread mash in and see if we can attract something. Oh, this bread mash is absolutely freezing. And it's messy, that's why I've attached a towel to my belt so I can wipe my hands and dry them off. But it's normally quite successful. Speak to anybody that's ever fished with bread, whether it's for chub or roach or anything else. It's normally quite a good method, especially if you want to sort out the bigger fish. As I said, I've been doing this for about 10 minutes now. I'll carry on for about another 10. Just a small handful in. And just let that drift downstream. Just into that flow and let that drift down. Breaks up into the most beautiful little particles and cloud that goes down. So there's not really a great deal for fish to feed on, but there's plenty there just to attract them. So if we can generate a bit of interest. Well, do you remember I spoke to you earlier about those bubbles that I was seeing coming up in here and kept disappearing? They appeared over this side and over the other side, and I said to you I wondered what they were. Didn't know if it was pike or something. I've just actually found out there is an otter just came up where this little bit of log is sticking out here. Just came up. I saw a big ripple in the water here, and it came up and stuck its head out just by there looking at me. Might explain the lack of the bigger fish, I suppose. I mean, as you've seen, there's plenty of small ones, but normally when I know it's been in previous years and things change, but normally when I've come here I've managed to catch sort of 2 or 3 big chub and fairly easily, but as you know, I haven't had one on the few trips I've had, and that's probably something to do with it. Anyway, it's a pity I'd turn the camera off because I'd sort of run out. It's hard to believe I'd run out of stuff to say for a bit while I was continuing to feed the swim. And as I said, I just happened to be sort of glancing round as you do, and saw this big sort of vortex and thought, what's that? And then he just stuck his head up down there. It's only a little one now. I expected them to be much bigger, but I expect it wasn't much bigger than about that. That's the first one I've actually ever seen in real life. I've seen evidence of them, but I've never actually seen one before. Oh well, I'll trundle down for a bit longer, because I'm pretty sure if he's just come swimming up here and whatever, he's probably scared the bejesus out of anything that was actually down in here. I'll give it a few minutes longer, and then what I'll do is I'll have a cast down here. I don't know who's the most surprised to see each other, him or me. Still, you know, it's the otter's natural environment, isn't it? What do you expect, really? You know, the rivers aren't closed off. You're bound to have otters in places like this, especially as they're out in the middle of nowhere, totally undisturbed as a general rule. I suppose it's absolutely perfect. Well, I've carried on feeding. It's probably been about 15 minutes now since I saw the otter. I saw it some more disturbance a bit further downstream. Couldn't be a fish, it'd have to be him, I should think. I've not seen it come up here since. But anyway, I'm going to have a trot down and see if I can catch something. So anyway, size 8 hook, big piece of flake. I just pinch that around the shank of the hook, make sure, most important, that that barb's exposed. We'll have a trundle down. Still not quite enough flow here just to pull the line off the reel on its own. There's one, but it's something small again. Don't come and grab it, Mr. Otter. Oh, not bad. Probably the biggest one I've caught to date. Let's find a disgorger. There we are. He's got some scars down the side of him. There we are, getting a little bit bigger. I'm just going to move down between those trees and see if I can trot this a little bit further down a moment. I'll try my utmost not to fall in. Yeah, here's one. Well, they've gotten a little bit bigger. I know, about 8 ounces, but we're a long way from what I was after. Right, that'll have to do, I think. Well, the pheasants are going up to roost. Light's fading. I've got a little bit of a walk across the field, as I've said, so I'm calling it a day now. I was hoping to get a decent sized chub, but alas, that's how it goes sometimes. But anyway, until the next time, once again, thank you very much for watching, and all of the best with your angling.